All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're going to tackle a huge challenge that, let's be honest, a lot of development teams are wrestling with right now, moving from the old school world of AngularJS to the modern, powerful framework of Angular. This is all about navigating from the past to the future of web development. So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll talk about why this upgrade is pretty much inevitable. Then we'll look at the two big paths you can take, a total revolution or a gradual evolution. We'll explore the hybrid bridge that makes it possible, lay out a step-by-step roadmap, and wrap up with the new way of thinking your team needs to adopt to really nail this. If you're running an AngularJS application, I'm willing to bet this question hits close to home. You've got this valuable product, but it's built on tech that's, well, a bit of a dinosaur. So the real question isn't if you should upgrade, but how you can possibly do it without bringing your whole business to a standstill. Okay, let's start with the why. This whole migration thing is so much more than just bumping up a version number. It's really about a fundamental shift in how we build modern web apps, moving away from those old clunky controllers and into a world of sleek, modular components. The biggest change here, the real architectural leap, is moving from AngularJS's controller-based model to Angular's component-driven one. The best way to think about it is like this. AngularJS was like sculpting with one big block of clay, while modern Angular is like building with Lego bricks. Each component is its own little self-contained reusable piece. And that right there leads to way cleaner code, better organization, and the power to scale up for really complex applications. All right, so once you're on board with migrating, you hit your first major fork in the road. It's a huge strategic decision. Do you just tear the whole thing down and start from scratch, or do you upgrade it carefully, piece by piece? On one side, you've got the revolution, a total rewrite. I get it, it's tempting. You get a perfectly clean slate to work with. But it's also incredibly high risk, super expensive, and it means serious downtime for your app, which most businesses just can't afford. Then you have the evolution, the gradual upgrade. This approach keeps your app up and running the whole time. You can migrate in small, manageable chunks, and the risk is just so much lower. Now, for a tiny project, a rewrite might be okay, but for anything big and important, evolution is definitely the way to go. And honestly, that's the clear consensus out there. For just about any complex, business-critical application, this evolutionary, hybrid approach is the most sensible and practical way forward. It lets you modernize your technology without pulling the rug out from under your users or stopping business in its tracks. So how does this evolutionary path actually work in practice? Well, the magic is all in building what we call a hybrid bridge. It's what allows the old world of AngularJS and the new world of Angular to live together, side by side, in the same application. And the key to this whole strategy is a special tool called ng-upgrade. It's the official library straight from the Angular team, and it was designed for this exact purpose. Think of it like a universal translator, letting your old AngularJS code and your new Angular code talk to each other seamlessly. This library is, without a doubt, the foundation of a successful gradual migration. Now, the real-world benefits of doing it this way are just huge. Your app never has to go offline. You can move over one service or one component at a time, and you can test everything thoroughly as you go. But maybe the most important thing is you don't have to put a freeze on developing new features. Your team can keep delivering value to your customers while chipping away at the migration in the background. Okay, so we've covered the why and the what. Let's get into the how with a really practical, step-by-step roadmap to follow. Now, of course, every project is a little different, but the journey usually follows these 5 main stages. First, you get your environment ready by bringing in modern tools like TypeScript and the Angular CLI. Second, you bootstrap the hybrid app, using that ng-upgrade tool to get both frameworks running together. Third, and this is where the real work happens, you start migrating piece by piece. Fourth, you'll need to update your routing so users can navigate smoothly. And finally, step 5, test, test, test. And I don't mean just at the end. You've got to test continuously at every single stage to make sure everything is stable. This quote just perfectly sums up the whole philosophy, doesn't it? It's not about a frantic sprint to the finish line. It's a steady, controlled process. Doing it this way cuts down on risk and turns what feels like a massive, overwhelming project into a series of small, manageable wins. But a successful migration isn't just about changing code. It actually requires a huge shift in how your team thinks, about planning, about development, and even about your long-term vision. And it is so easy to stumble here. If you rush the process, you'll end up with sloppy code, which just becomes tomorrow's problem. If you don't plan it out well, you get a fragmented app that's even worse to maintain than what you started with. And maybe worst of all, if you ignore how this all feels for your users during the transition, you could lose the very people you're doing this for. But here's the upside. This migration is an amazing opportunity for your team to level up. It forces everyone to get good at TypeScript, which makes your code way safer and easier to manage. It demands a new way of thinking in modular, component-based terms. And it introduces your team to powerful tools like the Angular CLI that will boost their productivity long after this project is done. Ultimately, you have to reframe this whole thing. It's not just a technical chore you have to get through. It's a strategic investment in your future. By modernizing your tech, you're building the foundation for innovation, for scalability, and for being able to adapt way faster to whatever the market throws at you next. And that's the final thought I really want to leave you with today. As you plan your own journey from AngularJS to Angular, ask yourself this question. Are you just updating a framework? Or are you seizing an opportunity to fundamentally transform your application, your team's skills, and your company's ability to innovate? Because the way you answer that will shape your entire approach.